Welcome back to Plots with a Twist,
where we discuss books
amongst other things. And today we like the combination videos. We like the wrap up with the to be read. So we're gonna do that again. Yep. Right, it gives room for other content. So we're gonna do that again and do our February wrap up along with our March to be reads.
And we're drinking Moscato.
Right.
Should we start telling the people what we drink since this is Plots with a Twist?
Nah, we need sponsor money for that.
Okay.
All right, so let's get into it. So how many books?
Okay,
I've been reading.
I read 3 books this month, and that's fine with me because that was my goal. So, and my Goodreads says I'm 1 book ahead of schedule for my. I think my goal is 36 books this year, which is 3 books a month. I was about to say a week, a month. So I'm on schedule. She thinks she all of that because she read more books than me, but whatever.
I am all of that. Let me see what my Goodreads tell me. I think it said 3 books ahead of schedule.
She lying now.
Oh, now I'm 2. The days change.
Yeah.
But so this month so again, to be fair, 2 of them I was like finishing from last month. So completed books. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. 3 completed books, like all in February. But 2 of them were kind of whatever. So I got a number of books to discuss. So. All right, so let's get into our wrap up first. So the first 2 I'll talk about together because they were companions. So that's Beartown and Us Against You. So I started Beartown towards the end of January. No, you're right. This month thing is throwing me off.
It's a leap year, so it's kind of like confusing everybody too.
Well, that's not why I was confused.
I know this,
but basically, both of them are by Fredrik Backman. We've spoke highly of him before about A Man Called Uwe.
One of our faves.
Right. And he is back. He is back in form, even though those books are kind of old now. It's okay. But Beartown is about a town. Beartown is about a town. It's a hockey town. So when you first start to read, it's kind of seemingly like a hockey story about this hockey team that could potentially save the town from like an economical downturn. Because if they win and go on to the finals, they'll bring a claim to the town and bring in money and all this. So seemingly when you're first reading, it is kind of like boring. But once it gets to the like real nitty gritty of the story, oh my God, I loved it. I loved it. So basically, it goes into events that happen, but basically it gets into a point where there's an assault on a young girl, a sexual assault, and that divides the town. So the story then becomes about the fallout of that event, who's taking what side, and just how the town can recover from this, because the person who is involved in this situation is on the hockey team and one of the star players. So I just really enjoyed that. It was like, it is a triggering story, I feel like, if you have been in that situation or know someone who's been in that situation, especially if it was a situation where a lot of people didn't believe them. So I will say for that reason, it is a trigger. I would put a trigger warning on it, but just, you would almost swear that Backman was a female because the way he wrote everybody's perspective and how they were trying to...
It's accurate.
Yeah, how they were experiencing it. It was done so well. So I really like Beartown. Us Against You, same thing. It was kind of layered, and it was the events. It further took the event. So it's kind of like, if you wanted an epilogue, here's an epilogue in a book. My only issue with Us Against You was, it seemed like the book was meant to be longer, but he may have had to like edit to like make it shorter. Okay. So it was like certain connections missing, but other than that, it was a little bit more scandalous. It was a little bit more juicy. It got more on the political side of how the town was going to recoup after everything had happened. But both of them were very good. I gave them both 5 stars on Goodreads, and yeah, I would highly recommend them. I will say Backman is like a reader's writer.
And what you mean by that?
Because I feel like if you are a person who doesn't have like multiple books under your belt, you may not understand what's special about his writing. So I feel like if you're like new to reading leisurely, or just have only read kind of like very surface books,
you won't get it.
Yeah, it'll miss
completely.
you.
Okay.
And so he's very nuanced in his writing.
Love a nuance.
I love a nuanced book. So and he's very nuanced. So yeah, those were I'm gonna put those two together. And so those were my first two for February.
I'll say one of the books that I read, you guys saw this in our last TBR.
Right.
So I'm actually reading this now, and I'm like on chapter 12. I'm on chapter 12, about to finish it. I know, but it's a short book. It's only 200 pages. I've just had a lot going on, so I haven't finished it. Did I even say the name? Their Eyes Will Watch You Die by Zora and Neale Hurston. And I'm actually enjoying this book. At first, I was afraid I wasn't gonna really be able to get into it because it was written in 1937, or it's published in 1937. So it's like super old school. But I feel like the story is it's about Janie Crawford, a woman, and it goes through like her 3 marriages that she's been in. It's in that time of like her grandma was a slave, but her mom wasn't. So she's only like 2 generations removed from like slavery. So it's in that time era, and it's basically like a story of a woman who got married really young, so she didn't know anything about life, and so but she knew she had like dreams and like wanted to do certain things, but that was taken away from her because she had to get married. And back in the day when you got married, you was basically a slave to your husband,
right?
basically like you just had to do everything they wanted you to do. And so it just goes through different relationships, like her life from when she was like 17, and I think I'm at a part now she's like 40 years old, and she's basically now like coming into her own like woman. And it's very interesting being that she's a Black woman. So it's good. I'm really enjoying it. I would suggest anybody to read it. No, I like it. You just mad because I know you're probably not gonna like it when you do read it.
Yes, I have it currently checked out, and it was meant to be read in February. But y'all know February is a short month.
It is, so I'm almost done with it, but I haven't even finished it. But I enjoy it. But I like stories like that about like women coming up on top and like and I'm not even finished, so I don't even know like how it ends for her for real. But it's just now getting to the parts where she's like starting to live life and do whatever. Like, yeah, so it's interesting. It's a very interesting book, and it's well written. I can see why people do like her writing, but it was said that she didn't really like get recognized like for her greatness until, of course, after she died and stuff. So
yeah, I think she has a book that just came out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very good. I would read it. I would recommend it. I haven't rated it yet because I have not finished, but it's giving me 3 to 4 stars type of vibe. I gotta see how it ends before I can say if it's 4 stars. But yeah, so that's one of my books for February.
So the thing I want to mention, February was meant to be all Black authors for me, but
it was for me.
But the way my library system works, you put stuff on hold, and you might be number 20 in line, and that takes you 3 months to get, or you might be number 20 in line, and it takes you a week. So some of my books I got, and I was like, oh, I gotta read them now.
Yeah.
So I just meant to mention that because the next book is another. I read The Girl Who Lived Twice by David Lagercrantz.
Sounds about right.
So yeah, and if you aren't familiar with the Lisbeth Salander series, basically that's book 6 of the Lisbeth Salander series, started by, how you say his name, Stieg Larsson.
The girl with the dragon tattoo.
Right, series. The girl with the dragon tattoo series. So,
which we love.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love this series. David Lagercrantz, not so much. I will say that. So I will say that I do appreciate that he's picked up the story, kept it alive.
Because the original author died.
Right. Oh, yeah, if you don't know. The original author did pass away. So he picked up the story and tried to make do with what he can. It was very marketable. It's very, lucrative. So I'm sure everybody wanted to do a continuation because ultimately Stieg Larsson did want to continue the story.
10 books of hers.
So this one, I don't want to get too much into it because it's a lot just from the previous books, but this one kind of goes into a man, basically a beggar, a street beggar. He pops up dead one day, and something about it makes the medical examiner kind of be like, well, this wasn't
Normal
suicide. Yeah, it wasn't a normal death. And he had the journalist that's in all of them, Michael Blomkist, however you say it. He had his number in his pocket when he passed. So she called him. She called Michael. And and that kind of just snowballed into this whole thing of them trying to figure out who he was. He's connected to these people that are in politics. And, everything with that book is very CIA. Well, not even CIA, but like...
whatever their organization is.
Yeah, because it's got some and then it got some Russian stuff, and it was just a whole bunch of like that whole espionage type deal. So it was a jumble. And then of course you have Lisbeth Salander. She's on a hunt for her sister. If you've read the previous ones, you know that they have a estranged relationship. I will say, I have said before that his writing is still somewhat entertaining and that it continues the story, keeps it alive. You're still invested in her, but I do not like at this point what he's doing with Lisbeth. I feel like he's making her this like shell of a person. Like, even though like the original version, she's kind of like, she doesn't emote, but she had emotions.
You still got to see her as like a person.
Right. And the dialogue that is within her now is very much, I don't have a feeling, or I don't know how to feel about this. And it's like,
that girl, we know
like,
you got
you're not
feelings.
this. He's making her more disconnected with her emotions. And I don't like that. He's also making her like this kind of uber vigilante. You have to make her this person that just, I'm going to go after this person because they are an attacker of women. Like, she doesn't put herself in situations. And some of the situations he tries to make it seem like it organically happened. But it's kind of like,
how would that
right, every person she meets and they got a sob story, she doesn't go after, like, so anyway, it ended in a way that he could just stop. I'm good. He could just stop. I know he's probably not going to, because like I said, it's a very marketable book series, but he can stop. I'm good with the ending. I'm good with where it ended. I'm good, just stop. Because what's going to happen is he's going to come out with another one, and I'm going to be forced to feel like I have to read it.
You're gonna have to read
because I've already invested 6 books. And
we have to see how it ends.
And I'm going to just be turning the page. Like, that book held me up from getting to Their Eyes Was Watching God. That's what it was. It was that book, because I sat at the library for like 2 hours and forced myself to read it. Finish reading it. Because I had like this much left, and I was like, I can't have another day of late fee tacked onto this book. Like, I almost didn't finish it. It was just dragging.
So the next book that I read was, what was it? Such a Fun Age by Kiley Reid, which we don't have the book with us, but because I got it from the library. We did a review about it already, so you guys kind of already know our sentiments and our feelings. We both enjoyed it. Really liked the story. Really liked that the main character in the book, I can't remember her name right now, Amira, how much she was relatable to, like, me and my friends, and how we, like, just go through life kind of. Really liked the dialogue surrounding like race and how people from other races, like, kind of like their internal thoughts when dealing with like black people or minorities. What am I trying to say? She
did a good
job. She wrote that out really well. So yeah, it was a good book. I don't want to say too much, because if you haven't seen our review, you need to go check it out. We'll leave a link below for it, because we did do a whole review on that book. But I believe we both gave it 4 stars. So yeah, it was a good book. You should check it out, and it was a quick read.
The other book I want to mention that I read for February was Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. That one is very interesting in that it was a Mayan mythology tale. So it's about a young girl who lives in a family, not kind of like a Cinderella-esque type story, but she's like a low-ranking member in the family. They use her to do all the cooking and all the cleaning, really. And but she just dreams of escaping and living on her own. And it's set in the 20s. It's kind of like a period piece as well. And then also it has the element of the fantasy or magical realism, however you choose to interpret it, because I feel like it leaned magical realism, but it was supposed to be fantasy. Anyway, but yeah, so she basically is left at home one day. Her grandfather wears this key around his neck for this chest. She opens the chest, and lo and behold, it's the god or the lord of death. And there ensues a mission or an adventure where he tries to get back these missing body parts that were taken from him by his brother to kind of keep him trapped so his brother can rise to power. And basically she goes with him to try to get his powers back and his throne back. So it seems like it was supposed to be really good. I was really excited about it. I will say that. I will say the main story was still good. The story of the girl, the Lord, and the adventure they go on. But what kind of threw me is her writing. So she writes in a very descriptive way, and part of it was her trying to make sense of the fantasy theme of the story and how that relates to the real life of what the times were. And it's like, you don't have to do all that. Like, it's a fantasy story. Let it be a fantasy story. That's why I say borderline magical realism, because I'm like, okay, you're trying to make it real, but it's like it's a whole different realm these people are talking about. So you didn't have to make it like real. You didn't. And then also some of the details, it just felt like, and I told Asia this, like, it felt like she had modern details, but the story was set in 1920. So it was like kind of a distraction. Yeah, in a way, it was just like, it just upset the flow of the story, because it's not like a major thing, but as you're reading it, something pings out that doesn't make sense. It kind of throws you off. Yeah. So other than that, though, it was a little too long. I feel like if she kind of shredded that away, it would have been a lot better. It could have been shorter. It could have been cute, but
how many stars did you give it?
I gave it like a 3, because I will say it was unique in that I've never read anything about the Mayan heritage or even Mayan mythology. I didn't know that there was a whole mythical world within. I don't know. I will say it was unique. I will say it was very I'll just say it was unique. So I would say if that's, going to be your call to pick it up, if something just starkly different from what you've been reading, probably. But other than that, it wasn't as exciting as I was hoping it would be.
So disappointing. I'm just playing.
A little bit.
Well, the only other book that I read this month, I told you I read 3, was The Water Dancer. Give me your book. By Ta-Nehisi Coates. His name.
Yes. So, or it's actually Ta-Nehisi. He was on Trevor Noah.
Oh, really?
And that's how Trevor said his name. And I trust Trevor.
If he didn't correct him, then that probably is how he said it. And I really enjoyed this book. I really, really did. It took a while to get into the story, because at first I felt like he was like talking in circles a little bit. But he's like setting up the story and then goes into it. But it's a little confusing how he does it in the beginning. But once you get past that, I felt like it's really well written. You can tell he's like a good writer, even if you don't like read that much. I enjoy the story. To me, read like kind of like somebody like telling their memoir or whatever. The main character, Hiram Walker, it's him narrating it and him going through his story.
This is where you at? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Anyway,
I'll tell you why.
Wow.
When you finish, I'll tell you why. That's where I'm
anyway, yeah. So I just enjoyed the story. It basically is a story about a man who is, born into slavery and has this he has this gift where he can like help free the slaves. It helps him to like free. It's like a fantasy thing, but magical realism, I guess. And yeah, it just goes through like his journey of like being son of a slave owner and feeling like thinking that was going to be like his ticket to like kind of like rise up, you know, when he was younger and naive about the world, but then getting older and realizing that that doesn't mean anything, and he still has to, you know, fight through this, you know, this thing of slavery, and eventually he joins the Underground Railroad and you know, kind of helps to free other slaves and stuff. But the way, I just didn't like the way it ended. Kind of ended, not, it didn't leave it open, but it was just kind of like he was telling his story and then it kind of just ended like, okay. Like, if that was the case, it could have ended a little while ago. But I still enjoyed the story because I felt like his writing is really good and it's enjoyable and it flows. So that's what I liked about it. And yeah, that was the third book that I read. I believe I gave it 4 stars. Or did I give it 5?
You gave it 5.
I can't remember. So it was 5 stars because it was that good. So if you haven't, and this is the first book of his that I've read. I plan on reading Between the World and Me eventually. And he has another book that I said I want to read too.
I can't think of the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, but yeah, so I want to read his, just because his writing is really enjoyable to me. I don't know what you would call it, but yeah, I liked it. So, The Water Dancing, pick it up.
I'm not that
So
far.
why you didn't read it?
I'm not that far. This was meant to be finished in February, but I'm not that far. But I will say, I guess because it's like memoir type-esque base, the way the dialogue, it's not connecting with me. I want a good, like, y'all down there, y'all do like, I want that.
That's how Their Eyes Are Watching
And
God
that's
is.
and I'm probably gonna not like that, like for the opposite reason. But this is like, to me, like T.I. is a slave. Like, he expeditiously went up to the house in the
I don't think
proximity.
it gives that too much.
Like, don't try to throw in a little bit of
No,
like.
I don't feel like that. I think that he just because it's like you're reading what the thoughts inside the man's head. So, but I feel like when, you know, they like do like singing,
even
you haven't gotten that far.
Okay,
anyway, so.
even the other folks talking, they was
Yeah.
like, you know, the circumference of the tree.
They weren't. Doing
Yes,
all
they
that.
were.
Oh my God.
So that
Okay,
that's
black
throwing
people
me
smart
off.
back then too.
I'm not saying that
I'm
they
just
weren't,
playing.
but it's just throwing me off.
Yeah.
And it's just like, also where he's talking about his, like, the realism of it, or the ability that he might have. He because he's already overly descriptive in his writing, I can't tell the difference as to when his ability is happening and when it's supposed to be something else. So it's like throwing me off. But I'm still going, so we'll see.
Yeah, you have to finish it.
All right, so that's pretty much it for what we read in February. Now let's get into what we're going to read for March.
Yes.
All right, so this month we have 4 books because it's a longer month. That 2 extra days is going to really do it. So the first one, I'll do this one, is The Girl with the Louding Voice by,
Abby Dara.
there you go.
I made that.
I have no idea what this is about, actually.
Me neither. I was just about to say
I read
that.
the synopsis, but like it's a coming of age story for a
Nigerian girl.
for a Nigerian girl.
Who wants an education.
There you go.
So yeah.
So just been seeing it float around on YouTube. I mean, not on YouTube. Well, on
Instagram,
YouTube and Instagram here and there. So just wanted to give it a go. On to the next one.
The next one we are going to read is The Kite Runner, which is like a classic now, I would think.
Yeah, they're reading in schools now.
By
We way behind.
Khaled Hosseini. And I don't know what this is about either, for real.
I know it's like a peasant
Okay,
and pauper.
so, yeah.
What you call it? No, like it's kind of like a rich, like a story like the rich and the poor boys' sons. They become friends.
Okay, yeah, because it said
And like
that
it's set during war.
Amir is the narrator, and he's the privileged kid. And so he meets somebody
Is that what
in
you
the
call it?
country.
The prince and the pauper. I couldn't think.
The country is going through a revolution and it's invaded by Russia, so it's got all that going on. But I'm pretty sure most of you guys probably have heard of this or read it. So, but yeah, this is on our list because we both owned it for a while, and we gotta read it and see what it's all about.
All right. So our theme kind of this month is this get through books we own.
Yeah.
So we mentioned that
Good
we would
books.
try to get through this last month, but that didn't work out.
Yeah.
So we're gonna definitely get through it this month. That's American Marriage by Tayari Jones. Heard great things about it. Really want to read it. So yeah, we'll do it this month.
And last is The Immortalists by Chloe Benjamin, which I'm sure you guys have seen this book floating around forever. And most people, I think, who read it said that they really enjoy it. It's set in New York City, okay, Lower East Side in 1969. And it follows the Gold children.
Yeah, so it's going to be like 4 siblings. They go to a fortune teller or something, and it like lays out their life. I have no idea, but it has some magical realism in it. I know that much, and I don't mind a little magical realism.
And we've been wanting to read this book for a while.
Right. I feel like you like magical realism more than you like fantasy.
Have
you read any magical realism?
Right. What is that? You keep saying
it's like a sprinkle
of magic,
of fantasy.
It's like magic, but in the real world,
right?
Type of deal.
Versus a full world of like this is the norm. So yeah,
I can get with that. If I can get through.
I got 2 maybes. Yeah, I got maybes.
So if I can finish these 4 books, then I'm also gonna read White Teeth by Zadie Smith. I've owned this book for forever, and I've been wanting to get into Zadie Smith and read her books. And we had we had posted one of her books on our Instagram page. Go follow our Instagram. And a woman that said that she like Zadie Smith is her favorite author said to start with White Teeth. So I'm gonna read this and see. And I believe this is about 2 families. 3 generations and just like getting through stuff. So
that's your only maybe?
Yeah, this is my only maybe because 4 is pushing it for me anyway.
You know, if I have another good reading month like I did February, which I don't know, I don't want to be over ambitious, but I do want to start to try to challenge myself a little more because I have a whole bunch of books,
right?
And I want to show that I can actually read through them.
Yeah.
So if I can get to like 5, 6 a month, I'm gonna get
for me.
through my
I want to read them, but I also don't want to put too much pressure on myself because I'm like, oh, I gotta finish these books. But yeah.
So I still have the Water Dancer to finish. I still have the Water Dance. I still have the Eyes Watching Guide. So that's where I should stop. But if I have another good reading month, I have 2 maybes, which these will probably go into April, honestly. So the first one is Broken Harbor by Tana French.
Love a good Tana French book.
So yeah, she's become one of our favorite authors. She's
this in the series? This book? Did I read this one?
No, I don't think so. So we've read the other. So I like to read stuff sequentially, even though the stuff in her book
you don't
series,
have to read them.
You don't. It's not really a series. It's just they're all operating in the same. Yeah, operating in the same world or same precinct. Basically, so I have no idea what it's about, but it's her, so I'm gonna read it.
I started this book. You had gave it to me, but I didn't finish it. Like I only read like the first like 20 pages maybe.
So yeah, I just want to get all of her books and read them because like her worst one was her first one, and I love that.
Yeah.
You know, and she has growth each time. So yes, I want to try to get through that, but she's very wordy. What I noticed about European authors, they're a little wordy. I don't know if it's the translation because that's how Beartown was, and even the girl with the whatever. Yeah, the girl who lived twice. They were kind of a little bit wordy, so I don't know if it's the translation, but her books are a little bit wordy.
She's very
and
descriptive. Like
yeah. So we'll see. Like I said, this will probably be an April. And the other one I definitely can finish fast. It's a Liane Moriarty. Is that how you say her name?
I think so.
Liane
Moriarty.
I've never seen her,
the author
name.
of Big Little Lies. You guys know it.
So I want to do 9 Perfect Strangers. This is her latest, I believe. It came out maybe a year or 2 ago, probably 2 years ago now. Have no idea what it's about. I'm assuming it's about 9 Perfect Strangers. So she does very kind of like juicy, gossipy, like scandalous. That's my name. That's my favorite thing. She does very scandalous stories. Yeah.
Very much housewives drinking wine, but something happens and it's scandalous, and it's like, oh, what's gonna happen? But yeah.
So she's one that like I usually can get through her books quickly because they're very juicy.
Easy reads too.
So this one, I don't know. We'll see. But if not, may get to it in April or at some point this year.
Yeah, definitely this year. So that is it for our TBR for March. Let us know if you guys have read any of these books. If you want us to review anything specifically, let us know. But yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a little lengthy, but stay to the end and watch it.
How you gonna say that at the end?
If you stay to the end, tell us you stay to the end.
Let's like it. Let's comment. Let's participate and have a conversation. And let's subscribe. And let's ring the bell. You know, you gotta know when we post.
Yeah, because we post.
That's important.
On time every week. So
yeah, so far it's every week, but who knows? If y'all like participate, we might do a little bit more.
Just a little bit.
Just a little. All right. So until next time.
Bye.
Bye. Peace.